Okay, so it is started. Okay, so guys, we see here uh, virtual switch concept in Hyper V. Okay, and morning when I we are discussed that time I told one picture, right? So that is like a VMware related also there, guys. So again, I'm telling what are the technology it is, whatever it is, Hyper-V or VMware are there. Almost all similar. Only few are having little differences are there. Okay, so that's we'll see. So in a virtual situation, Hyper-V, first of all, we need to start a server. Later we'll see. There's a three type of switches are there. One is external switch, the internal, private. Okay, so each switch having a different functionalities are there. It is a virtual switches only, and what will happen with this external, internal, and private switches. So first of all, I will explain what is this specific Hyper-V switches. Then I will go to how to create, how to see it, just how to see it. Okay. Already I created a one external switch. We'll see that one. So, see, guys, this is my server. Okay, this is my server. My server has a NIC. Okay, my server has a NIC. Okay, this is my network, physical network. Okay, so NIC is connected. So I have a NIC there. Now I create a external switch. I create an external switch. What is this external switch? External switch is bridged to the physical NIC. It creates a bridge between your physical NIC to external switch. It is a switch. It is a bridging. Now, in your server, you have a virtual machines, right? You have virtual machines, either one or a multiple virtual machine. Last time in one batch, I told one I take only one virtual machine there, one virtual machine. So people think it is, sorry, it is only communicate only one virtual machine. It is not like that. So I have taken a one virtual machine or multiple virtual machines. So your virtual machines, the virtual machines, those who are connected to external search, they can communicate. Look at this, guys, the yellow symbol. Okay, these machines can communicate each other. Means virtual machine communication is there. Virtual machine to physical network communication is there. Means it can able to communicate uh, anything connected to your physical network, and virtual machine to physical communication is also possible. Okay, virtual machine to physical communication is also possible. This is a manually I typed it, but it is a statement. The external switch create a virtual switch that binds to the physical network adapter, so that so that critical virtual machine. Yeah, it is why I told like virtual. Can access the physical network. We can able to access network. So here it is. So VM to VM to your physical machine. VM your virtual machine to your physical network. Can access physical network. Physical machine, virtual machine to physical machine, virtual machine to physical network. So like a internet, we can able to access. Okay, it is like a VM net zero or bridged network in VMware. VMware bridged network. In a virtual box also bridged network. Okay, so this is external switch. Guys, understand external switch?
Yes, sir.
Next. Oh, okay. We'll take another server or maybe same server just for understanding switches only. I'm drawing multiple times. This is my physical NIC. NIC is connected. Okay, physical NIC. Okay. I want one point is there here. Just in an example, you have a multiple NICs. You have a multiple NICs means you have a two NICs and you can create a two external switches. For example, this is a external switch one. Then also you can create another external switch also. Okay, you can create another external switch also. You can connect to some other virtual machines also. You can do it. Okay, you can create another external switch also. Like that, number of physical NICs, the number of external switches we can create it. Okay, next. Next, guys, here it is internal switch. This is a internal switch. Okay, so here it is. I have a virtual machine. I have another virtual machine. Okay, so I have a internal switch. I'm removing that internal switch because it's bigger than a normal one. So okay, this is my internal switch. I've connected my virtual machine to my internal switches like this. There is no binding here. This is a internal switch. It's a internal switch. This internal switch. Okay, this is virtual machine one, virtual machine two. You can communicate virtual to virtual, virtual machine to physical machine, and also you can assign an IP address to this internal switches. Okay, we can separate IP address, but no binding. Okay, no binding. No binding at all. You can create multiple internal switches also possible. Okay. For example, you create a machine separately. Okay, virtual machine. Okay, created another machines. Then I create another internal switch. It is like a host only type, not pure private. This is a not pure private, but it is internal switches. For example, switch to this is also a, for example, internal. If you take a very big one diagram, also I can explain in one shot only. Means everything is in one server only, like that I can see. Same thing, V3 to V4 can communicate. Not V1, V2 to V3, V4 cannot communicate. So look at here, guys. In this one, V1 can communicate V2, V3 can communicate V4. Of course, these two are can communicate my physical machine. So for example, physical machine name is S1. Okay, can communicate S1. These two can communicate S1. They can communicate your physical machine through this internal IP address. Okay, so that IP address is server IP address by default. Now, but we can't communicate between V1 to V3, V2 to V4. These things cannot communicate each other. No communication. Okay, this is called a internal switch. Okay, only I think I've written. No problem. This one I have to type. No. Yes, I have a one PDF is also there. I written inside a one PDF also. So all more than enough information is there. So I will try to share you if possible. What it is? Create a virtual switch that can be used only by the virtual machine. Virtual machine that runs on this physical computer and between the virtual machine and the physical computer an internal virtual switch does not provide connectivity to physical network road connection. Okay, so this is your internal switch. So in external switch, one point is be missing. Okay, based on number of physical NICs, you can create an external switch because it is each external switch is binding to a physical NIC. Each external switch bridged to a physical NIC or NIC team. If you have an NIC team, that is also there. Okay, so that is it. Keep it in mind. Next one is internal switches, guys. Okay, internal switches. For example, internal switch 1 is connected to VM1, VM2. Okay, the internal switch 2 is connected to VM2, sorry, VM3, VM4. Means VM1 and VM2 are communicate each other and to physical PC or physical computer too. And VM2, VM3, VM4 or communicate each other and to physical computer. But VM1 and VM2 VM3 and VM4 cannot communicate each other. Next, VM2 physical network access. Now physical network access. Exactly say VM to VM, VM to PM or PC. Better word is PC. And initially also I use PC, physical machine kind of stuff. I use PC, physical computer. Okay, and VM to physical network access, no access. Okay, so that is internal switches, and we can create multiple NICs. Sorry, we can create multiple internal switches. Not depends on not depends on physical NIC. Okay, so that is internal switch. Next one is private switch. Let's understand internal switch at least by diagram. Virtual to virtual, virtual to physical, but not like virtual to kind of stuff. It is like a vmnet one, vmnet two kind of stuff in VMware. Private only, okay, private switch. You guys understand? Internal switch, external switches.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again we'll see private switch. Again, this is my server having NIC, either one NIC or multiple NICs, but no bridging, nothing. Just physical machine can able to communicate, virtual machines don't communicate. Guys, I took a two virtual machines per switch. It does not mean only two can able to connect. It is just for a understanding purpose only. Okay. So I said no. Last time one guy is seriously send a message, sir, you use two virtual machines here, two virtual machines here, but in actual you are using one virtual machine. Meaning is only one we can able to connect. It's a representation just for understanding, guys. Okay, it's just for a understanding. You have a switch, your physical switches having a limited port numbers, 4 port, 8 port, 16 port. Usually 8 port switches are there by default. Starting range only 8 port switches are there. Switch in a hubs 4 ports are there. In a hub 4 ports starting, but in a switches generally 8 ports are there. 8 port, 16 port, 24 port, 48 port, 72 port. Okay, like that. You have a number of port numbers are there. Like I taken a 16 port switch. How many devices you can connect? 16 total. 16 connections you can create. 16 devices or a 16 connections you can connect it, right? But these switches are private switches. Sorry, virtual switches, not physical switches, right? So okay. So it is that is not a main thing we can private switches. So for example, this is private switch one, private switch one. Okay. So what will happen here? You can able to communicate virtual to virtual. That's it. No virtual to physical communication or virtual to physical network communication is not there. Here also virtual to physical network communication is not there. Okay, so be careful. It's not two guys, it is not there. Meaning is no communication between these two things. It's not there. Cross mark. Same thing. Virtual to physical network in internal, in private. Virtual to physical, virtual to physical network, physical machine, physical network. It's a pure private type. Private, pure private. I have two servers are there. They must communicate each other, and there is no need of communicating with the others. Okay? No need to communicate with the other machines. Same. I have another machines. For example, sir, guys, I am taking an example: one machine, two machine, three machine kind of stuff. Okay, so you need to say like a, so it is only two machines we can connect it, so don't go like that. Okay, so understand what is the point. Okay, this is switch to, but it is direct switch. What happened? No bridging, no IP address. Okay, including you can't put a IP address to these things. Okay, no IP address, no IP address, no communication to physical machine, no communication to virtual machine. Okay, again look at here, guys. V1 to V2 can able to communicate. So V2 to, sorry, V3 to V4, V5. These will communicate each other, but they cannot communicate it to S1. No communicating. These are not communicating to S1, not communicating to physical network, not communicating to physical machine, and also separate PPT cannot communicate each other. Means V1, V2 don't communicate, V3, V4, V5. Okay, keep it in that mind. Of course, you have a server, for example. I took a one beautiful server here. Okay, so this is 5 6. Okay, this is a virtual machine 6. I have a two NICs. One NIC is connected to switch 1, one NIC is connected to switch 2. What will happen here? So V6 can able to communicate to 1, 3, 4, 5 also. Okay, so like this we can able to do it also. Story is there. The story is like this. We have to do one practical in earlier times. The practical is about a VPN server. To set up a VPN server, first of all, you should understand a routing and remote access service. Means remote access service. Earlier name is routing and remote access. Later it is changed to remote access. Meaning is you have a server in a different network, you have a client in a different network. We need a router to communicate between server and client in the same location. Okay, different IP addresses, different logical networks. So I take a one server, all are virtual machines only in a Hyper-V virtual machines only. So I put a two NICs for this one, two NICs. This is a one private switch one. This is another private switch two. I connect this server to a private switch. I connect this one to this private switch one. Okay. Again, I connected to this private switch two. So now it is become a intermediate system. So I told this server as a RTR server. I put a name for this server is RTR, routing server kind of stuff. Okay. So then first I will configure LAN routing. Then I configure VPN. So it is become a VPN server. It's like we have done that time. So that is what I'm trying to say is. So I can communicate from this client to server through this router. How can we create? So we created two private switches for separating networks, for understanding separation of the networks, and in middle we put one common machine which connected to both the switches. There is a machine which connected to both the switches, and we install a VPN, remote access services, configure VPN. First of all, LAN routing, then configure the VPN, then we can able to connect it or not. So that is our rest. So there we it is this concept is very useful for me that time. But I think so you guys understand. So V6 can communicate V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 because I have a machine with two NICs. One NIC is connected to private one, another NIC is connected to private two. Okay. It is a kind of host only network type, not a specific adapter. Okay. So this is private switch. So we have to start writing a private switch. It is not a big, so many lines, only one line only there. So we'll try create a virtual switch can be used only by the virtual machine that run on this physical machine. Sorry, say computer. You can use machine also. All are same. Okay, private switch that can be used only by the virtual machine that run on this virtual machine. So means virtual to virtual machine. Okay, virtual to virtual machine. Virtual machine to now physical machines or physical network. Okay, we cannot communicate to physical machine, physical network. So, for example, I create a private switch. One is connected VM1 and VM2. I created a private switch to VM3, VM4, VM5. So they can communicate each other. So VM1 and VM2 cannot communicate to VM3, VM4, and VM5. Very simple, right? You can add anything like a VM6 kind of stuff. Okay. For example, VM6 has two NICs. Okay. Connected to private switch one, private switch two has two NICs connected to private switch one and private switch two. Then VM6 can communicate to VM1, VM2, VM3, VM4, and VM6. Okay. So this is about guys private switch kind of stuff. So this is how to create kind of stuff given. So okay, so how to create this is hard disk. No, this is generation 1, generation 2. How to create a virtual machine and their settings stored one by one. So this is, I don't know why disk management is not added here. No problem, it's not a big deal. But these are switches guys. Okay, whether my machine is running or not. Guys, understand? Private switch, public switches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I will show you how to create it and we will leave it. Okay, so already one external switch is created. Now we don't have a free physical analysis because of we created already teams. So we'll see how it is affect on the teams. So then we'll take a break another 10-15 minutes. Then we will go with the virtual hard disk. Yes, if in case of anything very bore or completely out of box, like your mind is unable to receive, also tell me. Okay. Either I will give you break or another refreshment or another speech. If it is a physical class, I can see your face and I can understand whether you are getting the point or not getting the point kind of stuff. So this is my Hyper-V manager. I open already. One virtual machine is still running. Okay, it is running. If you don't want, you can able to remove it also, or you can able to do it. So you can go to settings. You want to add anything, like you want to add extra hard disk, or you want to add a extra networking, like that you can go to add hardware. See, when system is running, in that condition also you can able to add a adapter. This is adapter. So currently I have a one external switch. Okay, this is virtual switch manager. Guys, I am putting a full screen mode to get a proper visibility. Okay, if you are unable to see also, please tell me. This is the mac pool. Mac pool means mac address. Whenever you create any NIC, either it is a private or public, or you connect a machine NICs. It's a pool of NICs, pool of MAC addresses. When any NIC related or a switch related things are created, okay, like a internal switches, external things, physical machine or virtual machines, NICs are created in Hyper-V. So it will give you MAC address from these range. Okay, this is the range. Already one external switch is there on my Ethernet. See, it is there a lot of Ethernet it is showing. Like Ethernet 2, 3, 4, 5, like that it is showing, and it is this is these two are based on a things. Okay, so if you want to do it again, you can remove it also. You can change it to internal, private, and also you can manage the VLAN ID. Don't check anything, guys. It will give you problem. Okay, so now I will start with the private in a reverse order. So we'll see. This is the private. Create a virtual switch that can be used only by the virtual machine that runs on this physical computer. Create a virtual switch. Remove this thing. So I put a private one or a private switch one. Your wish to put a name, and it is not asking any binding kind of stuff. Simply click OK. We can create it. Okay. Now it is created. How to know it? So go to ncpa.cpl. Okay, can you see any private switch one kind of stuff? Nothing is there. It's not showing here. Okay, not showing. So you can't assign any IP address to private switch. You can't communicate using private switch from physical machine to virtual machine. So it is there internally, but you cannot able to see it. So I created a private one, external switch one. Look at this is the server virtual machine. So you can go to settings. See, it is network adapter. Now you can change it to private also. Now it is private. So your physical machine cannot communicate it to virtual machine. Virtual machine cannot communicate it to physical machine. Virtual machine cannot communicate it to physical network. If you are put a private switch. Okay, like this. You want a private switch or external switch or internal switch. By the name, you will select it. I didn't done anything, just we don't record anything. Again, virtual switch manager. I said private switch. We are done with the private switch. Okay, so we can create a multiple private switches also. Like create a switch. Make sure private switch is selected. Why we need a private switch? You want to completely isolate your network. Completely isolate, or you don't want to get involved in any other communication with your physical machine and watch physical network. You can choose it. So this is another private switch. So private switch is selected. Click OK. Same thing. You which one you want to do it? So just go to adapter. You want a which one, private two, like that. Of course, you can connect at a time multiple networks also. Okay. Next, I will show you internal switch. Internal switch. Create a virtual switch that can be used only the virtual machine that runs on the physical computer between physical machine and physical computer. And internal switch does not provide a connectivity to physical network. It is stays inside your computer only. Internal switch. Internal switch. Already I said for internal switch we can able to apply IP address and we can communicate through that IP address also. So it is there is a internal switch is created. See it is you try to get IP address from physical machine DHCP server. Okay, so this is my internal switch. So it is showing private won't show on the screen, but internal and external switches can able to see. So like this is an external switch, this is internal switch. Like this, irrespective of how many NICs we have, we can create a number of internal switches. So I'm creating second internal switch. Just look at there. So go to settings. Private switch 2 also created. For example, you want to connect your virtual machine to private switch. Same thing. Go to settings and go to network adapter. Change your adapter. So it is this is internal switch. The first internal switch got I think it got an IP address from my server DHCP server because it is built in DHCP server is there now. Yeah, my server got freezed. Don't worry, just wait. Yeah, it is open, but it is got freeze. Still in a freezing mode only. Slowly. Yeah, it got some IP address, but not correct IP address. It is APIPA address. So what I will do it, I will assign a IP address to my internal switch one. Okay, you got IPPA address, automatic private IP address. What is automatic private IP address? IP address when it is showing an IP address is 169.254 means you got an IPPA. Meaning is you are unable to get an IP address from DHCP server. You are unable to get a IP address from DHCP server. Guys, when you got an IPPA address, meaning is if you got an IP address 169.254 on your computer, that is called a error. It is an error. Okay, so what you have to do, go and check for your DHCP server running. Are you able to get IP address or not? So get an IP address. So I'm assigning some IP address here. You can select 172. 16 0 dot 1 112. Like, see, I can assign an IP address. Great. Okay, see, this is an internal switch. I can assign IP address. If I connect this internal switch to my virtual machine, I can communicate with my virtual machine from my physical machine or physical machine to virtual machine. So that is internal switch. You can create as many as internal switches your requirement. So private switch cannot see. You can't assign IP address to private switch. You can't assign IP address to your private switch. Okay, no IP address kind of stuff. We can't see private. All it is inside your bits. But internally is not like that. Internal is switch or belongs to your physical computer plus virtual machines. Last one is external switch, guys. This is the external switch which is already created. So look at here, external switch contains my IP address configuration. IP address, subnet mask, default gateway. So subnet mask is not changed, showing as a old one like this. So very simply say, this is showing V Ethernet virtual switch status. Hyper-V virtual Ethernet adapter. This is the server IP address. But actually it is binded to this vmnet 0. You can see nothing is showing here. Nothing is showing. You can't change it also. So everything is controlled by this external switch only. Everything is controlled by this external switches only. Ethernet 0, external switch 1. Okay, this is external one. So like that, I'm going to create external on this um, 17 team 1. Okay, we'll try again. Virtual switch manager, external switch, create external switch and put a name for the external switch. Name can be anything, guys, to understand what service it is, what is it is, what type of switch it is. You can do it. So you can select any of the existing NICs or you can select the adapter. So apply, yes. There's a two other options also there. You can see those options here. Yellow, management operating system to share the network adapter. Meaning is let communicate through your NIC. Okay, so it is now external search. It is showing my team this IP address. So it is. So morning we went to the team. We seen an IP address. Now it is not showing. So Ethernet one, Ethernet one, Ethernet two combinedly become team one. On team one, I created an external switch. Also, you can create individually. I will try. Okay. Otherwise, I will delete a team two Okay, NIC Team 2, then we can try it. External Switch 2. So I'm selecting this fourth one, 4. Okay, means Ethernet 3. But Ethernet 3 actually is binded. So we see whether we can able to work or not. Ethernet 3, Ethernet 4 R belongs to team 2. I mean on one of it, yeah, you're getting a error. See error applying switch properties changes. Add ports to switch external switch failed like this. Okay. So you are getting a error. So what I'm trying to do is just for our understanding, I have a team 1 and I have a team 2. Both are there. Both are having two network adapters. Okay. This team 2, I'm going to delete. I'm deleting team 2. See, I deleted a team 2. Refresh. See, I assigned an IP address for internal switch. It is showing here. Now, team 1 only there. The team 2 will be gone. That to team 1. So, see, Ethernet 0 is binded to external switch 1. Team 1 is binded to external switch 2. Ethernet 3, Ethernet 4 are independent. Okay, just we'll wait. Now the team 2 is gone because I deleted. So my Ethernet 3 got its own IP address. Look at guys, what is IP address? 19. Ethernet 3 IP address is 19. Okay, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to create one external switch. See, okay, I have 4 NICs or 5 NICs, 5 external switches. We can able to create it. 2, 3, external switch 3. So 2 on this one. Sorry, on this one. Okay, okay. These are the different options are there. You must now try on yourself only. So this is Ethernet 3. So numbering our kind of stuff is little different from actual one, right? Yeah, I got different error applying virtual switch properties changes. Already bounded. No bounded, no bounded. External switch 1. Okay. External switch 2. External switch 3 is different, right? Okay, we'll try on 5. Means 4. It got disabled and enabled. Okay. So on Ethernet 4, see, details are gone. The IP address of Ethernet 4 is 20. 20 means this to this bridged connection. Bridged connection. Okay. So if I put a for one virtual machine, that one, it able to communicate from my from virtual machine to internet. Okay. This is external switches. Private switch, internal switches, external switches. Private switch, you can't assign IP address and you can't see how private switches are located, where it is located physically or visibility we can't see. We can see only by settings. Okay, means virtual switch configuration wise only We know there is a private switches. Virtual machines connected to private switch can communicate each other, but they can't communicate to physical machine or a physical network. Internal switches, we can create a number of internal switches. We can assign IP address to internal switches, and you can connect a virtual machines to what internal switches. So your virtual machine can communicate each other. Virtual machine can communicate to your physical machine, but they cannot communicate it to physical network. Okay. External switches. External switches mainly meant for virtual machine should communicate outside of your network, means should communicate through physical network. That's it is a external switches. Okay. So external switches can be created based on your physical NICs or physical NIC teamings. So whenever you bind a machine to a external switch, so user can able to access from the external switches. Okay. So as per requirement, everything is good. So of course, yeah, I didn't write in here. It is VM1 can communicate with VM2, VM2 to VM3, and it is communicated to your PC computer and also physical network. Okay. So all these are belongs to Hyper-V switch. Okay. So that's the last point I'm telling. One more point it is, guys, in a VMware workstation actually. So VMnet 8 or NAT option also there. What is this NAT? What is this NAT exactly say? We don't have any space here, but I will try to tell. It is external only. It is external only. So this is a physical machine. Okay. This is a physical machine. I have NIC, physical NIC, and this NAT having a binding between physical NIC. So it translate to others like a other VPN kind of stuff. So network address translation and your VMware NAT. Okay, even virtual box also having NAT option. So whatever it is a NAT, it is NAT. Whatever it is connected to physical network, connected to physical network. Okay, NAT network address translation connected to physical network with NAT network address translation. Meaning is your physical network IP address. It's logical network, right? So physical network means physical exist network. IP address means network is different from NAT IP address. Can't do anything. So what is a NAT, guys? You have a virtual machine. You want to run a virtual machine. You want a physical network connectivity, but you don't want to connect VMnet 0. You can connect it to VMnet 1, that is host only. VMnet 8, that is by default NAT. What is a NAT kind of stuff? NAT is a network address translations. Okay, it maps local IP address to global IP. Okay, so this is about your NICs. That's it. Guys, understanding.